Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach,
And I'm Mac.
and today we're going to be talking about a possible expansion for Tapestry. An expansion we know is coming,
Yeah.
um, but
Like it or not.
we're going to be doing it slightly differently. I'm going to be suggesting some things that could be in the expansion. This isn't, it's just speculation. Nothing that's actually in the expansion or anything like that. Um, but you typically do not. It's not that you hate expansions. You just usually don't need them, even in your favorite games.
Yeah.
Or you
If
don't
I
really.
like a base game, then I think why tamper with it? Rarely has an expansion ever made me go, this game is so much better with the expansion than it was as a base game when I liked it that way anyway. So I also just think some of these expansions are planned in advance, and so for me it just seems, I don't know that shady is the right word, but it seems weird to plan an entire game and then have an expansion planned and only release pieces of it.
But I can see it too. Sometimes it adds like more time to the game, or more things to learn right off the bat.
Sure.
So I think if you're already learning a lot in a game, once you've learned it, maybe then you can add
What
those things in.
happened to, base games being good the way they are? I mean, if you're
I
not
mean,
going
they
to
are
make
good the way.
if you're not
What do you
going to
think
make
about
a
this one?
finished product, then I don't know what you're doing. You're selling me something
Well, I think it's.
for money that's not
So what do you think of
completed.
this one? I mean, Tapestry was definitely complete as a base game. I'll give you
Yeah.
that. I'll give you that. I would still love Tapestry just as much,
Well, it's not
even
like this
if it didn't
adds a
have this.
ton.
I mean, it doesn't add that much, but it adds some things to just
Sure.
freshen it up just slightly,
Yeah.
which I think a good expansion can do.
Sure.
The best expansion that we probably have had is like the Quacks expansions. Maybe.
Okay.
I think they change it up the
In
best.
Zach's opinion.
Okay, well, I'm going to start by. Okay, I'm going to start with kind of the things that maybe I would want the least or have the. Um, I don't know if they're the greatest types of things that would make you want an expansion, but hopefully by the end I can maybe get you to think that maybe a couple of these things
Well, and
could
so
make for an expansion.
we should know that Tapestry is my second favorite game of all time,
Mm-hmm.
and it was your first favorite game of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's still sitting there. It
I
might
think
have
so.
dropped one or two. I don't know.
I think it's still saying.
So it's very interesting that you've got two people, one who is advocating for more of his favorite base game, and one that is advocating for just the game as it is.
Mm-hmm. So you would never play with the civilizations in this game.
I mean, I haven't played through all the civilizations of the base game.
That is true.
So,
That is true. Well, first off the bat,
yes.
I feel
What's the first thing?
this
Convince
one,
me.
Well, this one I don't think is going to convince you, but it's just this one's kind of out there a little bit.
Okay.
So I'm thinking like a new board. What made me think of this was kind of the Wingspan Oceania expansion. So this
Didn't
new
you do that
board,
with Side too?
well, there's a modular board.
Okay.
So that way you kind of change. I think it works inside a little bit better because your bases are always the same. So that way, I don't remember what
Okay,
parts
so
it
what's
changes.
the new board gonna do?
So the new board is going to have hexes, all specifically or for the different civilizations, and possibly be two-sided. So
Oh.
each side kind of has. And I was thinking it could be more of like the Rise of Fenris type thing. So it kind of changes gameplay.
But then you're
Maybe
locked
completely.
into playing certain civilizations together?
Right. But I at least from what I had thought of, I think it would be almost a totally different feeling game. So I think it would be like a big expansion, but it would kind of not feel exactly the same as Tapestry. So that's why this one's kind of on there, kind of not. I don't know. I thought it could be interesting to see how you could put together where you could. It wouldn't necessarily even be conquering territories. You could be like having influence in these territories to like gain things from those civilizations to kind of combo civilizations together. I don't know. It's probably a totally different game.
It's a no from me, dog. I feel like that's not within the
Yeah, I
spirit
thought
of
that
Tapestry.
that's pretty weak, and I think that would totally change the game. But I think
Weak.
I think there are
Weak sauce.
I think there are probably ways, I'm sure, that people have come up with that you could change the board in one way or another. But I think overall I probably like the board how it is. I don't know that I'd really change it that much. Maybe in a 2-player game I'd have maybe 2 players start like almost right next to each other. Like a tile next to tile or maybe one tile in between instead of possibly starting farther apart.
It
That'd be
definitely
about
puts
the
the
only thing,
pressure
but
on.
that's really just circumstantial, so it's
Well,
not
that's
really
luck of the draw on the.
right. So my number 2 thing
Okay.
would be a new track, so like a 5th or 6th track. I don't know that.
Why? For
I
what
don't
purpose?
see.
What's missing?
See, that's just it. I like it. I probably like the 4 tracks the way they are, but I'm pretty sure that I've seen in games that there's a lot of them that have like 5 resources or 5 tracks or 5 whatever versus having like 4. So I don't know if I'm sure there'd be a way. This one I haven't really thought of myself, but I'm sure there could be really interesting ways of adding a 5th track.
There's no place for it on the board.
See, it would have to be like on its own, or each player would get their own track. I don't know.
Maybe if it's player contained, I could go for it. Like if your actions have no bearing on my player track.
Yeah, I don't know. It could be its own. Yeah, your own player track. I don't really
But
know.
if it's another one where you're fighting, no.
But I mean, the only thing is, I feel like they already. It's like I feel like the military and exploration kind of go together, and those ones kind of go together.
Yeah.
I think it'd be refreshing for me. I mean, if you could make a solid 5th track to kind of get something that would mix well with all of them, just to kind of freshen some of that up a little bit. That's the only reason I would want a 5th track. I don't personally know what that 5th track would do. You'd have to almost come up with a whole different thing, so I don't know that it would really work that well.
I see your
It's
point.
another one of those.
I see your point about the tracks working together being repetitive-ish. So I'll give you that.
Yeah. So that's my main thing with the tracks, but that's another one where it's kind of like it's really game changing, just like that first one. So I don't know that it would actually be a huge benefit or not. If you could do it right, I think that would be pretty cool. My third one isn't probably it could be more of like a promo than an expansion.
Okay.
But it'd be like the new goals. So you have get to the center island, topple 2 outposts, or get to the end of a track. I think it'd be cool if you could come up with, even like have tiles to cover those up and have different things like get all 5 of whatever buildings off first, or fill in 3 lines of your capital city or something along those lines where it just changes it a little bit, because I feel like those 2 are kind of, to me, it's a little bit samey. Where especially the center island and the toppling. So especially with the ability to wait out your opponents as long as possible and then go like topple them and get to the center island maybe at the end of the game if it hasn't already, if those haven't already been taken, you can kind of, sneak an extra.
Do you think there's enough
5 to
incentive
15
though
points.
to go for the center island if it's
see,
not a bonus?
I'm not
Because
sure.
that's what I think draws in a lot of the attacker type.
That's true, and maybe you don't necessarily even have to cover those up. Maybe you could just add some additional.
I would agree.
ones.
I mean, I'm not saying that I think the game would be better with those, but I could see that might not hurt. It just is hard, I think, because those are 3 things that you could potentially do with many of the civilizations, and I think those would heavily depend on your civs that you're playing. Like if you don't draw the right ones for civs, they could be easily less or more attainable depending on which one you draw.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know.
That's a
I
decent
just think
thought.
it would. I think it would freshen things up a little bit.
It's a
I
maybe.
think
It's a maybe for me.
I think it's one of those things that you could easily add in an expansion as like just an extra
Right.
piece.
It's just a bunch
it's
of
not like
rectangle
totally game
punch-outs.
changing, but it just makes freshens a couple things up there. Then what do I have? Oh yes, so kind of to go along with what I just said, Jesse would like this one. Having some sort of permanent traps, so
Ugh.
that they could stay there even after your civilization is dead and gone,
No.
so that you wouldn't necessarily be able to.
No.
Why would you care about that? I'm the one that always outlasts everyone, and then I'm always the one getting in trouble for going and conquering, taking over territory.
I think that defeats the purpose of wanting to conquer, though. I mean, when you're going to conquer, you got a chance that your opponent has cards. And now with this expansion, there's even more cards when there's conquering. And I feel like that's enough of a deterrent sometimes. The laying of a mine or something on a spot is sadistic.
Wow.
Just like
Well,
Jesse.
It'd kind of remind me of. I'm terrible with names. What's the green side expansion?
Yeah.
One?
The
One that
Albion.
lays. Yeah. They lay,
Yeah,
are
that's
they the ones that lay
exactly.
traps?
No, they would lay flags.
Oh yeah, the other one lays traps.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that would be interesting to be able to do that.
But how would you lay one without the other just knowing?
Hmm?
How would you lay it without the other opponents knowing?
No, I think they would know that you laid something.
I just wouldn't go in that space then.
Well, maybe you could go in it, and maybe you could. So maybe they have to, discard a tapestry card, and then they lay like a tile thing face down, and some of them could just be blank, but they had to discard a tapestry card that could have maybe been non-trap. So then maybe when you flip it over, it could be blank. I don't know. Usually you don't have that many tapestry cards, so I feel like that could be. You could use something like that, where you could lay false ones, because you're probably not going to be discarding many tapestry cards unless you get a ton of them. I don't know. Some way to use leftover trap cards, maybe.
There's 10 points if you play him as tapestry cards.
Okay. Okay, then. So then, my fifth one is new tech cards. And I was thinking about this, and I'm like, I see it a lot. You see the same tech cards, it seems like, over and over and over. But I don't really know how you can add many new ones without. I don't even know what you can really add. So I was just thinking maybe more, building ones with some new shapes that we haven't seen before. So maybe like just a 3 corner one or something, and some more 2x1s or something. I think just having a few more building shapes that we don't already have was my biggest thought of what you could have for tech cards.
Sure.
I don't really know. Can you think of anything else that would be good on a tech card? I'm not telling you on that one either.
Well, see, I don't know, because I don't really go for tech cards that much, and I guess it's just because I find it difficult to, when you accumulate so many of them and you only have limited chances to upgrade them, I think that makes it hard. I mean, obviously they're worth it. Zach wins Tapestry a lot with a lot of tech cards usually, but I would agree to your point that there does seem to be quite a few tech cards that come out every time, and there are definitely ones that are more sought after than others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, yeah.
Not all tech cards are created the same.
No, definitely not. So yeah, if you could make, how about if I could just make more juicy tech cards?
Yeah, then maybe. Until you get like 4 of the juicy ones.
Well, I plan
and
on
6 of the already good ones.
I plan on it.
Then just put a nail in my coffin.
Wow. Oh boy. Well, I don't think I'm convincing her. So I've got 3 things left. The first one is like a new player board with 5 new buildings, or new, like, it could be square or whatever.
Player board?
Well, it'd kind of go along with your prior player board. It'd be 5 new buildings on that one.
Oh.
And either that, or it would be a shared board with buildings. So I would either put that in the tech cards, the weird shape build, or the new smaller shape buildings, or on this sheet. And I would say then you could take these buildings to help fill in your city when you, like, some of the rare circumstances where you try to add a building and you already have used all of them so if you have,
Yeah.
you're getting another red building and you've already put them all out.
That happens often.
For me.
Yeah, I know.
So, I mean, I think if you could get those and play them in your capital city, or if you can't add any more outposts, like if you run out of those. Like, I don't think these are things that happen all the time, but it's kind of frustrating when they do. I think it'd either be that or maybe 5 points every time. And then I've got, like, if you have no tech card to upgrade, you can take one of those instead. Or if you go to the end of a track, or if you're at the end of a track.
So it's basically rewarding you for poor planning? Like, isn't
Possibly.
that the whole point of Tapestry, is to use your moves
That is
to the
true.
most efficient?
That is true. But sometimes you're too efficient and you get all those buildings before you should.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it would be good for you, but it would just hurt me more.
Yeah, that was the only thing with this one. I was like, I feel like these are most of the time would be when you're already probably doing pretty well in Tapestry.
That's true.
Well, I don't know. I just thought it'd be interesting to have a new set of buildings.
I would say that if you did it, it would go to an opponent. That would really spice it up.
That is true.
Give it a negative benefactor to you.
That is true.
For being so dang good at the game.
That's interesting. That is interesting.
She got a poor old me, like rat tails and quacks.
Oh boy, the rat tail buildings.
Who are we kidding?
Yeah,
I
that'd be
win
interesting.
quacks.
That'd be interesting if you did do these things and then your opponent got them. That might be interesting.
Yeah, always
think
thinking
of that.
about yourself, not thinking about us little guys.
I was kind of thinking though. I was like, but some of those, it would maybe benefit someone that's already kind of far ahead.
Right.
So.
To say the least.
So. And 7, this is probably something you're not going to agree with, but more civilizations. And I know we already have a lot of them. The main thing I could think with them is, like, possibly adding ones with different mechanisms. I think you have, like, the Alchemist, which is, like, push your luck. Maybe you could have, like, an auction one where you lay your cube on one of the things like some of them already have, and then you can, like, auction off whatever's in a box or whatever. So, like, maybe a building, income building, or a space tile or something, and then the other players bid with either points or resources or something. So they'd give you that, and in return you'd give them, or they'd pretty much just get whatever. I think that one would be cool. Otherwise, I was thinking they could, I don't know exactly what games, but you could have some civilizations that have, like, nods to some of the other Stonemaier games, maybe. Maybe work in a mechanism from one of those games, kind of like Rolling Realms does.
Sure.
I don't know. I thought that could be interesting.
Uh,
Otherwise, too, I thought it could be interesting. I know there's a lot of very creative people out there, and there's a lot of people that really like Tapestry. So it'd be interesting if Jamie had, like, a little, not necessarily competition, but like a little thing where he had fans, like, create and submit different civilizations, and then got to 100 total civilizations with, like, an expansion of just Civs.
oh my gosh, 100 Civs.
I doubt that would ever happen, but that'd be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I think balance is needed in the Civs.
Wow.
So
One of those people.
it's hard to deny that the Merrymakers are not as good as the Futurists or the
I
other.
think they're pretty good.
The Merrymakers?
I think that's one of the average to,
What's like the most basic one?
I don't know, the Alchemist is pretty bad.
Oh, okay. See, I don't think I played them.
And when you just roll the die and you get to go up the track, but you don't get the benefit.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you can keep rolling it to try to go up like all 4, but you don't get any of the benefits, which is kind of meh.
I don't think all of them are terrible, but I think there's definitely a spread.
Yes. Well, that's why I'm going to sell you on my final point.
Oh, okay.
And this one is getting starting items with each Civ. Having slightly different items. So either start with, like, either building. I think the buildings, I don't know that you necessarily need more of those. I don't think you'd have to start with that. Maybe potentially on the civilization, you could have 1 or 2 of them start with buildings. Maybe. I don't know.
Sure.
It depends which ones. I mean, But I think if each one started with their own tech card and maybe Tapestry card, that'd be interesting. So that way, so at least I feel like every game I have to start out and try to get a tech card in order to have something to upgrade during the income phase.
Yeah.
So it kind of feels forced to me. So I feel like if you started with a tech card, that would alleviate that. You could still go get a tech card if you wanted, but that way you have something to upgrade.
You don't think the things from the first income are enough? You want something specific to a tech or to Civ card to start with?
I think that'd be interesting. And I feel like that way you could also balance through that versus having to start people off with different resources and different points. I feel like that would, I don't know, it'd feel more like part of the game versus just forcing it.
I will say that first round is always so tough. I feel so limited in that first round. So,
yeah.
Sold.
And then, having the Tapestry card. I don't know if that would be something you could play on your Maker of Fire. There's already a civilization that does that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it'd be something that would maybe help you at the end of the game or.
Well, but sometimes it's
off.
Nice to have two to go through for the next one because the one you got in the first round is not going to help you.
Right.
Which can make a very slow game for you. Well, not slow, but hard to come back from if you don't have a decent Tapestry card to help you on your next round after you don't start with the Tapestry card on your first round.
Right. Yeah. I think that would be my biggest thing. That's what I would want out of it. And I feel like that would have to be the final one. Like Jamie said, he'd probably, or he's hoping, depending on how well this next one does, to do 3, kind of like Scythe had 3 big expansions and then had some mini ones. I think it would have to be the last one so that you can then hopefully either the last one or like a thing that comes after all that's been done and you kind of have had some time to balance any that you'd have from the third one.
Sure.
But I think that honestly would be the biggest thing that I would want.
Do you have any guesses for the name?
Of this next expansion? I have no idea.
Okay.
Do you?
No.
Are you excited for it? Not nearly as excited as I am.
I'm indifferent.
Wow. Do you think any of these things will be in there? Wait.
Well,
so how many of these things would you want in an expansion?
Just the one.
That's the only one.
Yeah.
You don't want a new track, new goals, new tech cards.
It really depends on how it's done. And I wouldn't say that I...
Okay, we're saying these are done the best they could possibly be done.
I wouldn't say that I want them.
Do you need them?
I wouldn't say I need them either.
No, I don't think any of it's needed. I think Tapestry is a really solid game.
I'm glad you'd say that. It's your second favorite or first favorite game of all time.
Wow, trying to make it my second favorite. But no, I'm really excited for the expansion. I hope all of this is in there.
I know you are.
I hope all of this is in there.
We'll see how it's done.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it does matter how well it's done.
Yeah.
Because you can add all this stuff in here, and if it's not done well,
if it just
doesn't
bloats
matter.
the game, then it's just really not necessary.
Right. That's the thing where I haven't played all of them.
And that's where I feel like in Scythe,
Terraforming
some
Mars
of them are bloated, but...
Yeah. I don't know about Scythe. What feels bloated?
The Wind Gambit, was that really necessary?
Okay. It's interesting. I don't think it's as solid as the other one.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying I hate that game. I'm just saying I don't want it to bloat a game that's good.
That is true.
We never play with the Wind Gambit, and I have no desire to ever play with the Wind Gambit, really.
Wow. So if this next one, we're already kind of in the sky here.
Yeah.
With this one, so we're probably not going to be going in the sky for the next one.
Wasn't one of the
maybe
civs for this one, though, like treasure hunters? Aren't they coming out of a sand dune? Mm-hmm. Are we really in the sky then?
Some of them might be in the sky.
Uh-huh.
Do you have... Okay, so if there are any civilizations, do you have any guesses of anything that would be in there?
Oh, boy. I mean, he's got how many now? 26?
I think there's 16 and whatever the original was. This one had 10, I guess, not 16. Did you say 26?
Yeah. I thought you told me at one point there's 26.
Yeah, there's probably 26 then. That's probably what I was thinking. 16.
I don't know. I don't know what else he could use at this point. I feel like there's a lot of things that are starting to be made up. Like, what were the
What's wrong with that?
judges or the adjudicates or something? I don't remember. Yeah.
I don't remember.
I mean,
what it's
he's in
called.
the Futurists already, so I feel like the only spot he hasn't. I mean, I guess there could be an old Western themed one, maybe. Is there one of those out there? I don't know.
I don't think so.
It's hard because
the gunslingers.
it's so general, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like he's covered a lot of ground with those Civs already.
that is true. That's the reason too. Where I'm
I mean,
like,
we even got
I don't know that we need more
UFOs.
Civs, but it would be aliens.
Yeah, whatever.
But yeah, I just think I feel like this game is really one where, as long as the Civ feels different enough, you could add as many Civs to it as possible.
Sure.
And I personally feel like I don't really care if it feels unbalanced. I think
Zach will win anyway.
I like the challenge of trying to win, but I will say that when some of them feel really weak, I'd just rather not play them because
Yeah.
it's not as interesting, or maybe not necessarily not as weak, but something that doesn't feel like I'm making extra decisions because of that.
Oh, for sure. If it
So-
doesn't prod your decision making, then I think it's not a desirous Civ.
Mhm.
The Civ's there to help you win,
Right.
and if they don't prod you to do that, then
Right. Then you could just be playing without a civilization.
might as well.
So.
All right.
Well, I sort of convinced you 1 out of 8 isn't bad. Not good either, but I'll take it.
What's the percentage of that?
What is that, 12%?
Sure. I don't know. That's why I asked you.
Something like that.
Well, that's fun.
So maybe
I'm a hard sell.
maybe next time I can convince you to do 2 out of 8.
Well, maybe when the expansion comes out, we'll have to revisit, see what you did right or guess right.
See if I guessed right.
And then
I don't know that these are guesses, but
and
these are the big thing.
discuss the actual outcome of the expansion.
Well, if there's not a single extra Civ in there, I'm going to be shocked. So I should hopefully get 1 out of 8 on that as well.
Nice. We'll see.
Hopefully I can do better on that than I did
Yeah.
trying to get you to go all in on the expansion.
Yeah.
But otherwise, we will see you next time.
Thanks for watching. Go check out Zach and Jesse on our channel doing Tap Talks. They have been playing Tapestry with different civilizations and comparing them after the fact. So if you love Tapestry like us, that's great content for you guys to look at.
And as always, don't forget to
Keep on nibbling. Like and subscribe as well.